Oh, he's not gonna take that, is he? Fucking Shizuo. This asshole. The cafe L'Entrée seemed quiet when Kano arrived. Shizuo was sitting alone. Kano scanned the establishment but didn't see Rumi anywhere. One of the staff greeted him. Welcome. Just one, sir? No, I'm meeting someone actually. Of course, sir. The hostess smiled and then went on her way. Shizuo was glaring at him. Kano walked over to him and bowed deeply. It's a pleasure to meet you, sir. I'm Shinya Kano. You look like even more of a knuckle-dragger than I thought. Shizuo maintained his appraising stare. Rumi had something she needed to do, so she stepped away for a while, he said after a long moment. Kano sat down across from him. Why aren't you sitting next to him and I don't know, rub your knees together? There was a laptop computer open on the table. Right now the laptop is in sleep mode and there's nothing new on the monitor, but just before Kano came in, Shizuo was browsing an internet forum. He takes his user handle from a nickname for the apples he grows in his own farm, which are pretty little things and nearly as sweet as honey. This dude is another fan of Ayaka Miki, I knew it. The waitress came by to take Kano's order, so he asked for an iced coffee. How can you drink a fucking iced coffee if you know that you could be dead in 4 hours? What are you using the computer for? Kano asked. I'm on the internet. Shizuo's voice was low and gruff. This cafe is an internet connection? May as well start with a little small talk. So what? Again Shizuo glared at Kano. The words wouldn't come. No, actually, this is no time to be making idle chit-chat. If they got infected with the virus, Rumi and Shizuo might die. Just leave him here and take Rumi and go away, Kano. Look, please, you need to leave Shibuya right away. Shizuo's face contorted with confusion. What are you talking about? Why? Kano wasn't sure if he should tell the truth or not. He was strictly prohibited from discussing a case with anyone outside the department. As a former policeman himself, Shizuo ought to understand full well the secrecy an investigation required. But it wasn't like he'd just up and leave town without a good reason. Please listen, Kano said. There's a risk of a bioterrorist attack. It's very important that you go, though I'm not at liberty to tell you why. Let's not jeopardize our fucking job for this asshole. Even if this was Rumi's father, Kano couldn't bring himself to leak secret information. His mind spun with regret? No. Well, I don't need your say-so, Shizuo huffed. I'm sick of this town anyway. Kano was a bit relieved to hear that. Wow. Does this have something to do with the case you're working? Huh? You're telling me to leave Shibuya. Does this have something to do with your case? Yes, Kano admitted. So why don't you run off with Rumi then? Shizuo's tone was frank. Well, I mean... When Kano didn't have an answer handy, Shizuo let out a single heavy sigh. Is your work important to you? He asked. Kano hesitated. Is it more important than Rumi? Well... Again, Shizuo cut Kano off as he waffled over how to answer. Me? I used to put my work before my family. There was no question in my mind that combating society's ills and solving cases was worthy any price. And because of that, I did some pretty reckless things. Almost wound up dead more than once. Shizuo paused, a forlorn look in his eyes. My wife did nothing but worry about me. So much that I didn't even realize when she'd worried herself sick. I was so caught up in my work that I wasn't even there for her when she finally passed away. It was all so very absurd of me. The waitress came by and set Kano's iced coffee on the table. It sat there, untouched, until Shizuo looked at it pointedly. With a tiny nod, Kano brought the cup to his lips. The bittersweet liquid was a balm to his parched throat. I told Rumi the same story, Shizuo continued. But I didn't tell her how absurd it was. I told her that her father only did what he had to do. He took a sip from his glass of water. God, this is so dramatic. Rumi, she's very much like her mother used to be. Their personalities are almost identical. And I don't want her to suffer the same way my wife did. Shizuo's fist clenched in his lap. What was it that made you become a detective in the first place? He asked. Well, at first I got the job because I thought it would make Rumi happy. And then I guess I also because I thought it would make you like me, sir. It was the truth, but Shizuo simply chuckled. If your goal is to get me to like you, you may as well give up now. I'm sorry, sir, Kano said. I can't do that. Are you just stubborn around Rumi? Shizuo grumbled. I love your daughter, sir. I want to keep her safe to make her happy.
And why is that?
Whenever I think about her, I just feel so amazing. I'm sure that you or anyone can empathize with that. Everyone has someone they want to protect who makes them feel that good.
It's an admirable thing, wanting to be a detective and protect the happiness of the people. But that doesn't mean you need to ignore your own happiness in the process.
What you say might be true, sir. Earlier today, my partner was stabbed. And today's his wife's birthday.
Shizuo arched his brow. Is he going to make it?
We're not sure yet. Last I knew, he was in critical condition.
Why is he allowed to tell him this? This is why I keep saying that the life of a detective is...
Shizuo's words trailed off into a lamenting murmur. Even so, Kano was unmoved. Dick dictum number 1. Oh, that's not what you say to your future father-in-law. You don't just whip out your dick dictum like that, Kano. Never lose sight of what you're supposed to protect. Ever.
What's that?
Something like a senior detective I admire very much said. It's the fundamental guiding principle I've stuck to as a detective. But I was wrong about the real meaning behind it. My partner was stabbed. There are people I want to rescue. So much has happened. And now I finally understand what those words mean. When you see someone in trouble, you help them. That's not something a good detective does. That's something a good person does. Kano took a good long look at Shizuo's face. He had surprised himself finding the words to speak his feelings so clearly. Oh, sorry. And he wondered what effect it had on the older man. I'm sure that from your perspective, as my future father-in-law, my being a detective means that I'm putting my life on the line. But that's not entirely true. I can only be myself. This is the kind of person I am. I care about helping people. Even if I were a baker, or a brewer, or a bookseller, I'd still act the same way.
You're being ridiculous. A baker and a detective don't assume anywhere near the same risks.
I suppose that's true. Kano fussed with his hair sheepishly.
Shizuo grumbled. I think I see what kind of man you are now.
He sounded oddly defeated.
Which is why now is no time to just futz around.
Kano sat up straighter at Shizuo's weighty tone.
A detective needs more than just passion. A detective can't solve all his problems with sheer determination alone. But at the same time, he needs more than just the ability to coldly assess a situation.
He's talking about Stanley then.
He needs the conviction to stick to a case when it might otherwise seem prudent to give up.
There was something new in Shizuo's expression now, and a gleam in his eyes that hadn't been there before. Kano almost felt like he was being sermonized by a senior officer.
You got that? You need a cool mind, but a fiery spirit. A detective without both of those.
Wait, is he suddenly the Hokage of the Leaf Village or something?
Is worth nothing.
Do you mind if I write it down in my notebook here? God fucking hell, Kano. Stop brow-nosing.
Look, Shizuo said, suddenly embarrassed. Aren't you in a hurry? Don't you have to get back to your case?
Yes, and sir, please, I need you and your daughter to leave Shibuya right away.
Yeah, I hear.
Kano conjured up Rumi's face in his mind. There was a chance he might never see her again. He forced the thought away as best as he could.
By the way, if I may ask, Shizuo said, what was it about Rumi that made you fall in love with her?
What? Where's this coming from all of a sudden? Your daughter's ass, of course.
Was it her looks?
No, it wasn't just that. Kano found himself tongue-tied again.
I mean, she is pretty cute.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
Even if this is my own daughter I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Wink wink.
Shizuo shocked him by grinning from ear to ear. Well, yes, she sure is, Kano replied. But it's more than just that. She's also very sweet and kind-hearted.
She is, isn't she? But have you seen her fucking tits, mate? I know she's my daughter, but still. I'd do her.
God, no, Shizuo, what the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, she really is. For the first time, Kano and Shizuo smiled at one another.
You're a man who lets his emotions show in his face, Shizuo said. And for a detective, that's not so bad.
Thank you, sir, Kano said. He bowed to Shizuo as he stood up from his seat.
Never lose sight of what you're supposed to protect, huh? I like that. Wise words indeed.
Kano turned to look back and then bowed deeply to Shizuo one last time. Ah, how wholesome, huh? A father that's lusting after his daughter. And Kano, finally, 100% focused on the case. The ability to coldly assess a situation. Kano knew what he needed to do. There was one thing that was nagging him. No matter how hard he thought about it, it still didn't add up. Why would Tateno let Al Caravan go free? He needed to get back to the precinct and get the truth from Al Caravan firsthand. As he walked along, he considered what he did know about the facts of the case. Just what sort of plan had Alphard put into motion here? It seemed that Tanaka and Osawa held the keys to understanding it. There had been relay handoffs of the phony attached case, a relay that Tanaka had been complicit in. Then there was Hitomi missing, carrying the antiviral. Osawa had confirmed that himself. A jump to Osawa, okay. Kano was starting to form a vague picture of what Alphard was up to. If the mastermind's goal was to acquire the antiviral, then obtaining the cooperation of Osawa and Tanaka was vital to that plan. After all, the fingerprint verification was required to physically access the drug. In order to overcome that hurdle, Alphard had presumably managed to win over Tanaka somehow, and had then kidnapped Maria Osawa to provide leverage against her father. No doubt that was how they'd gotten Hitomi to take the antiviral referred to Hachiko. While the police were distracted by following the attached case, Alphard would then take the antiviral from Hitomi. That was the general plan as far as Kano could surmise. Just then a call from Kosei came in over the wireless.
We've identified the body found inside the blown up minivan.
It's Tanaka. It's fucking Tanaka, isn't it? Kano's hand tingled as it gripped the wireless.
Oh! I called it. Mamoru Tanaka, male, 40 years old. An employee of Koshal Pharmaceutical. Positive ID was obtained from the subject's personal belongings.
What? Kano gasped.
If Tanaka was dead, it would now be almost impossible to access the antiviral drug in the laboratory. At this point, the only antiviral they had any chance of obtaining was whatever Hitomi was carrying. Kano thought back to what Stanley had said earlier. Even if we get Maria to safety, the mastermind is in possession of the Ua virus. If they want to, they can unleash a bioterrorist attack on Shibuya at any time. To put it bluntly, the lives of every man, woman and child in the city are in their hands. Well, Kano, what the fuck do you do now, huh? No. A chill ran down Kano's spine. If someone did release the Ua virus, there would be no way to stop it from spreading. If Alphard really was planning a bioterror attack, Shibuya would well and truly become a city of the dead. He couldn't help but feel that the whole department was playing right into Alphard's hands. Kano staggered, physically stricken by the realization of just how terrifying a foe they were up against. Well, well, well. To be continued. We'll do just that. Any way to jump to Osawa, or are we just... Let's see, that guy? That guy most likely being... recover, right? Oh, come on. Yeah, that's Mina recover. Okay, let's just continue with Osawa, because there's no bad end or something, so maybe we did clear. Only human. I can't even remember. I think we started this time block with Osawa, and since then I haven't really touched him. Not that I would like to touch Osawa in the first place, but still. Is something wrong, Mr. Osawa? Kajiwara was leaning in, looking concerned. Osawa came back into the moment with a start and realized he had buried his face in his hands. No, he muttered, looking up. Just getting angry, yelling at people. I'm not good with that sort of thing. I don't like it. He picked up the music player and fidgeted with the earbuds as he spoke. Have you read this already? Well, getting angry and yelling at people, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's just human. I think we've read this. Can we? Yeah, let's skip ahead as much as we can. It occurred to Osawa that he'd never tried to tell anyone how he felt before. He'd never felt the need to. And yet, right now, he suddenly felt that if his daughters were to appear before him, he might blurt out everything he'd ever felt left unsaid. It was a terrifying thought. Knock knock. Who's it? Darling? I opened the door and stepped into the room. The detectives are asking for you. It seems there's been a development. Of course, Tanaka is dead. We'll be right there. Osawa and Kajiwara hurried out of the room. This is where it ended last time, right? Yeah, okay, fuck it. It's a keep out. Why doesn't it tell me so? How do I clear this keep out? What's the mastermind after? Where does this one jump to? Osawa, oh, okay. It was this simple all along. Why didn't I see that? What sort of plan had Alfred put into motion here? Tanaka and Osawa. Huh? Related Tanaka had been complicit in, Hitomi missing carrying the antiviral. Osawa had confirmed. Okay. Okay, that's why this. That's why I missed it. Let's finish this time block. This will be a short video, maybe? Depending on how long this is. What Osawa is gonna learn now. Before the news was shared with the Osawas, the members of the investigation team quietly briefed Detective Kajiwara. Osawa and I sat on the sofa on the far side of the room watching, again with about 1 meter between them. They really don't like each other, do they? They could see Kajiwara go pale. He wiped the sweat from his forehead with a handkerchief several times. Bad news, Osawa thought. Yet again. Mr. Osawa, ma'am. Kajiwara shuffled his way over to them at last. We've just gotten word from headquarters. Right now, the task force is in an uproar after a change in direction from the higher-ups. The detectives who were on the scene have been ordered to discontinue the kidnapping investigation. Why would you... I mean, we jumped to him through Kano. Why would I jump to Kano again? It makes no sense. Or am I missing something? He hesitated ominously. Osawa braced himself. Please, let's hear it. It would seem that your daughter Maria is safe. What? Osawa felt an unexpected surge of relief. You mean it? The case has been solved, added I. For a moment they almost sounded like a happily married couple. It was only the stern look on Kajiwara's face that gave them pause. However, as of yet, we do not have her in custody. I'm not sure I understand, Osawa said. You know she's alive, but you don't have her? How? Deep furrows appeared in Kajiwara's forehead. I'm sorry, sir. The information we've received from up top is complicated. We've confirmed that she was able to escape confinement. It's just... The detective gave every appearance of holding something back. If there's something you need to tell us, then just say it, Osawa told him. It would seem that Maria has been infected with a virus. Infected? Osawa felt as if a taloned claw had just clutched his heart. It's not one I've ever heard of before, but... Apparently it's called the Ua virus? Of course, I would know about it, right? Since she's his wife, and she's the daughter of the pharmaceutical company boss. Osawa's vision went dark. He felt as if he'd plunged into a black void of despair. Darling? I asked raspily. She didn't need to put her fears into words. Osawa felt them just as plainly as in his own gut. You're an expert on virology, aren't you, Mr. Osawa, Kajiwara said. Are you familiar with this Ua virus? Osawa held up a hand to forestall further questions. There was no time for that. How many hours ago was she infected? He demanded. I wasn't told that much. Is that important to know, sir? Depending on when Maria was infected, we may or may not still be. Osawa trailed off abruptly as the reality of the situation struck home. This wasn't the same as when Hitomi had been infected. Right now there was no way of getting Tanaka's cooperation, which meant there was no way of accessing the antivirus storage. In other words, getting the cure to Maria would be impossible. Osawa's head swam. Detective Kajiwara, I beg of you. Your people need to catch Tanaka as soon as possible. I can't share the details, but if you don't, something terrible is going to happen. And that's where the message comes in that Tanaka is dead. Just then Kajiwara's cell phone rang. He picked it up quickly. What did you say? The detective's shout shattered the anxious silence that had fallen. Eyes shuddered visibly at the outburst. Kajiwara nodded sharply, still listening. More creases formed in his forehead. Understood. I'll let them know. He hung up. All eyes were on him. That was headquarters. Osawa swallowed the lump in his throat. He could feel himself quaking all over. Many men we believe belonged to the syndicate exploded near Jinan in Shibuya. A body was found amongst the burning wreckage of the vehicle. Who was it? Osawa interjected. Tell me! Please don't let it be Maria. Please don't let it be Hitomi. Kajiwara took a breath before speaking. We've conclusively identified the remains as Mr. Tanaka's. No!
Why is she so upset? The cry was visceral, almost bird-like. Osawa looked around in surprise. It was I. It's not true. You're lying. Her shrill screams reverberated through the room. Osawa felt like he wanted to scream too. With Tanaka there was no way to get to the Enhibaro. Of course, she had a thing for Tanaka, right? Which meant that Maria was going to die. Not just her, just about everyone else too, but it's alright, Osawa. They're not important at all. You know, the other 10 million people or whatever. To be continued.